Kevin there spitting the truth, keeping it real, keeping it orange and blue. Yeah, talk that. Project lot, project. Ryan and Kevin, they're spitting the truth, keeping it real, keeping it orange and blue. Talking recruit, who's next in line? Line our pride. It's about that time. Orange and blue, yeah, that's how we do. Post game vibes, breaking it through. Ryan and Kevin, the crew that you knew. Keeping it fresh, keeping it orange and blue. From the court to the field, every play, every step. Debating the cause where the game is at. Who's rising, who's falling, who's making the cut. Line 9 for life, never stuck in the rut. Okay, recruiting buzzer got the inside line. Post game chatter, they're always on time. Breaking it down, they're the voices you trust. Orange and blue, yeah, they repping for us. Orange and blue, yeah, that's how we do. Post game vibes, breaking it through. Ryan and Kevin, the crew that you knew. Keeping it fresh, keeping it orange and blue, yeah. So tune in, lean back, let the wisdom flow. Ryan and Kevin with the knowledge they throw. Line 9 Nation, this one's for you. Forever proud, keeping it orange and blue, yeah. Orange and blue, orange and blue, yeah. Orange and blue, orange and blue, yeah.
Welcome. It is Sunday night, and that, you know what that means. It's not Sunday Night Slow Jam. It's Keep It Orange and Blue, which is probably pretty close if you're an Illini fan. So, joined as always, Kevin Ducey. Other than clearly neither of our football teams won, your Bears actually looked pretty good in my opinion. How was your weekend?
It was great, man. Saturday night made it wonderful. Yeah. It was tough watching the Big Ten title game, rooting against both teams. But obviously what Illinois did on the hardwood Saturday night, they looked like a different team. With healthy Tommy makes such a difference. I mean, people who listen and watch this pod know that I'm a huge Tommy fan. I think he's such a irreplaceable asset on this team. So it was nice to see that. It was great to get a win. Got a big week ahead of us. We were going to Nashville for football. Like it was a good weekend overall. Got Christmas tree up, lights up, all the good stuff. So
yeah, John Garner, you never fail, dude. Never change. The first minute that you're on the show, you're asking when Illinois is gonna win the Big Ten or get to the playoff. And I wish we had the answer for you, but
honestly, I think the opportunities will present itself with how the football staff manages the portal, catch a couple breaks with the recruiting class that we've got coming in with the one we stacked on from a year ago. I could see 27, 28 possibly being something like that. Obviously, depending on what kind of gyms you get in your quarterbacks, whether it's Boyd, Clayton, Lapati, those all things make a huge difference. So, yeah.
And this class has difference makers in it for sure. I think you talk about, and obviously Illinois signed a big class. That's not something we'll talk a little bit about that later. We got a full slate to talk to. We don't want to be on here until 10:20. So, but we're gonna talk about the game with Tennessee, preview a little bit, Ohio State, and Nebraska. Nebraska. That's right. Yeah. And then do Music City Bowl, but also huge Kevin, like guys like Nick Hankins. Right. You get Micah Champion-Smith, which is huge on your defensive line. Offensive line, my apologies. And you got Kai Pritchard's a top 200, 300 offensive lineman. Yep. Cam Thomas at linebacker. There's just a lot of guys, Eberhardt, right? Nasir Rankin. There's a bunch of freshmen.
And like all but 5 of the guys will be enrolled early, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and Javari Barnett, who won't be enrolled early, but he is a guy I think you could even see some time as a freshman. He's really good, and you got to flip from Bama. So, but let's get to what the biggest news. Clearly, Illinois needed we had chatted about this, Kevin, on the show that I'm not counting Missouri as up because they're not that good this year. I watched Kansas just slap them around in the second half today. But the biggest 4, non-conference games that are going to help Illinois in March. The Missouri game is not going to help them in March. It's going to be a quad 2, quad 3 game probably. But, quad 2-ish. But that, at the end of the day, if they win that, that's not going to help them get up a seed line possibly.
Being it's a neutral, it'll stay a quad 2. But yeah, I agree. It won't be a quad 1.
So this is the game. It's like we had to split those 4, that are going to be quad 1 games. I think Texas Tech, if they get their ship righted, which it's going to help today. Texas Tech beat up a good LSU team by I think like 20 or something, and that's going to help push their net back closer to the top 25. But anyway, they had to split those 4. So you take care of business at home against Texas Tech, and you finish the first and the fourth game. Illinois won. Could have easily won the Alabama game. I don't think the UConn game was one that they were up for to win. I think that the fact that they showed out better in the second half was good to see. And I think that became, it held the form of them improving and needing that week of practice, right, Kev? Because I think why they were out rebounded in the game in the first half, you could tell, I think Tennessee just wanted it a little bit more on the glass. Illinois got that all fixed up in the second half. The margin, I think it was tied for rebounds in the second half. Plus, Illinois was making open shots, and you could just tell too, fresher and more just tough. They felt like they wanted it more. The 50-50 balls were more going their way, unlike the first half. So your take from Nashville yesterday?
Well, yeah, I mean, the rebounding thing was obviously a concern, but when you look at what Tennessee rolls out for a front line, the Carey, Brown, Estrella, Opara, Phillips, Ament are all 6'8" and above, and 6'8" and post players with the exception of Ament. All of those guys are really big physical guys. Most of those guys, except for Ament, can't go away from the basket, can't shoot away from the basket. So when they were in the game, it provided them a rebounding advantage over Illinois. However, we were able to exploit that on defense. That's the reason why we shot such a high percentage in the first half. You look at the rebound totals. I mean, we only had 11 in the first half, but we shot really well. So I think that one of the things that we were doing is we put Tennessee, we made Tennessee adjust to us as opposed to the other way around. Going back to the 4 games that we played in the 4 big games in the non-con this year, I had us coming out of this 2-2 with the win against Missouri, put us at 3-2. And honestly, I thought we'd beat Alabama. I thought we'd probably lose this game because it was going to be more like a road game. But true to our fans, man, 40% were in Bridgestone. That was incredible. That was amazing. I think it certainly helped. So we come out as 2-2, what you could expect. And the only game that you can look at those 3 where you could say, I think that team was better than us was probably UConn. And I don't think that, Tommy certainly didn't look like himself in the first half, and guys just missed a boatload of shots. So it was just, Tommy was the best player on the floor in the first half. Keaton Wagler was the best player on the floor in the second half. Kylin Boswell was the best player on the floor for the duration of the game, right? If you look at it, it was just
Illinois had a guy that was just the X factor of the game, which has been Humrichous.
Absolutely. I mean, Humrichous was making really great hustle plays, especially late. One of the things I think I said, and I don't remember where I said it, maybe Twitter or somewhere else, but he was getting in positions and drawing fouls, like because of his positioning and because of how he's playing tough. Now, if Jake Davis and Ben Humrichous fall on the floor one more damn time, I might lose my mind. How often those guys are going to end up on the ground? Good Lord. But no, Ben was great. He played great defense. He got put on Gillespie at least twice where I was like, oh no, and he held him up really well. He's becoming a pretty decent shot blocker, which is surprising. And it's amazing that we are talking well about him in a game where he didn't attempt a shot, but that's typical what Tennessee does. Tennessee wants to really run you off the 3-point line. They want to funnel you into the bigs. So Illinois
didn't see much Brandon Lee or Petrovic, and Kev Petrovic. If he can start making layups, I think he'll play more. But you can't, you get to the basket. So I saw him get to the basket 3 or 4 times. One time he had it slapped off his knee out of bounds, which I guess happened against UConn.
Yeah.
And then he missed 2 layups. And one of them looked like, I think he got fouled. I'm gonna be honest, but you still got to make those, Kevin. And I know they pulled him after the possession where they were trying to give Kylin and Wagler a breather, and he gave the ball to Ben Humrichous at the almost near midcourt, right? Yeah. And then it got stolen from him.
Yeah,
and then Ben fouled him and got the 3-point play, which gave them momentum. They didn't put Petrovic back in the game after that.
Fouled him.
Yeah, all straight up, right? Yeah.
I saw
Antigua over there. Wasn't Underwood, Antigua was over there in his ass. I think it was like, you're running the offense here. You're not giving the ball to the guy as a safety relief valve at half court. You're running offense here. You can't just give him the ball because you don't want to handle the ball. And he didn't see him the rest of the season.
It's a very difficult position for a guy like Petrovic at his age to come in and run point guard with a team that he really hasn't practiced with all that much. He was been hurt, and he didn't get time to play against many of the cupcakes. In some of the games against the cupcakes, there were guys who were out. I think there's a part of this. He's just got to find his way. I think like we got Southern and somebody else coming up. Is that the only cupcake we got left? Is Southern?
No, there's two of them in there. It's after Missouri,
right?
Well, it is Southern, but Penn State's a cupcake too. We get them.
Good Lord, them.
Yeah, we get Penn. Illinois actually has 2 or 3 cupcakes coming up in the next.
Penn State and Rutgers.
Yeah, you get Penn State and Rutgers, so you get 3 kind of easier teams, or you could play him to get him a little bit more because. And I'm not going to lie either. Minnesota's in there, mixed in there too with Maryland at home, and then you go.
I think Medved. I don't think you can take them lightly. I think Medved's got something. I think he knows how to coach that team. They're going to fight. They won't be a cupcake. But Illinois will need to get Petrovic in. I'd love for us to just house Missouri. Maybe we can get up big on Nebraska. Like, I just give him some moments. Like, there wasn't time for Underwood to mess around with his mistakes on Saturday night. There wasn't time for him to mess around with his mistakes against UConn, and that's why he didn't play. So,
yeah, but I want to make it clear. I love his ceiling. I think he.
Oh, dude, he's so quick. He is so quick.
Yeah, he's quick. He's smooth with the ball. But Ben Humrichous had some 2 or 3 huge offensive rebounds to keep possessions right when Illinois was trying to milk the clock away, and they continually missed free throws, which, by the way, that's something that's going to worry me if it's a close game and you got guys that didn't want to go up there, and maybe they just were up by so much that they didn't really worry about making them. But
I'm relate. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, but the missed free throws, like, Illinois, I think, could have pulled away to win this game by 20 plus.
Oh, yeah,
it was type of.
You miss a dunk, you miss 3 free throws, like late. Yeah, they could have done that, and that would have been pretty cool.
But
it was a great. They showed a fight. They showed a lot of tenacity in there. So,
Illinois showed that they needed this game, Kevin. I think that's the most important thing. Like, they needed this game. It was a big one heading into Big Ten play, and knowing like you can't go 1-3 in those big non-conference games and be taken seriously in March of the point of like to be a top 16 seed, to get a protected seed. You got to win those.
Especially in this conference when you're going to go. I mean, Iowa is going to be no cupcake. At Northwestern, they're going to give us everything they got. You got Purdue on the schedule. You got there's a lot of teams in this conference, regardless of who's losing to who, whatever, that are going to give you a good game on any given night. And so, yes, we're going to lose a game or two in the Big Ten Conference that we're going to be like, what are we doing here? Why did we lose this game? So winning this game buys you a little bit of leeway. And it's weird that, this is the same Tennessee team that beat Houston, right? I saw, Illinois' defense on them was
blew the Kansas game. They blew the Kansas game.
They did blow the Kansas game. But they were also hungry, too, because they were coming up. What have they lost 3 in a row now?
They've lost 3 in a row, yeah. Yeah, they lost at Syracuse by 2 on a last-second shot they missed. They should have had But so
it's not like we were playing a team that was less hungry or more hungry than they were just as hungry as we were. So it's a huge game. It's a game that they needed. You saw the offensive efficiency that this team can have. 11 for 28 from 3. The bench was 3 for 3 from 3, which is kind of crazy. The bench only attempted 7 shots. 3 of them were made threes.
Big Z came in with some cold ice in his veins in the second half.
Yeah, but we got to tip our hat on a couple freshmen making great passes to get him open looks there. Wagler and Merkovich both made great passes to get him the rock there. And Merkovich, who was probably pretty frustrating for most of us most of the game because he just had so many moments, was really big late. I mean, that drive and finish with the left, the three, I mean, that was just great to see.
Merck looked a lot more under control. He looked a lot more like the guy we saw, the first couple weeks of the season. Even against Texas Tech, he played, he had like a double-double. I think he had 11 and 10 or something. He played in within himself, right? So he wasn't out there just taking every shot he could, against UConn, where it was like, you're shooting us out of the game early. He had 1-3, Kev, that rolled everywhere but in the basket.
Oh my goodness, I didn't go in.
But he looked more confident shooting the ball.
Yeah, he's 2 4 for 3. And I know that people might be like, "Hey, man, we don't necessarily want him shooting 4 threes a game." He keeps defenses honest, to makes them come out to him. It opens up the offense. But this offense, this team is really good when Tommy's doing it. And I want to say something about Kylin Boswell, leading scorer on the team for the season so far, had 22 plus in the 3 big games. He only took 11 field goals. He didn't press anything. He did take 1 3. I was kind of like, what are you doing? He did take 1, which was a 2-for-1, which Jimmy Dykes was like, oh, I don't know what's going on. I was like, you never heard of a 2-for-1, Jimmy? But I thought that Boswell just played within himself. I thought he really gave Gillespie a lot of trouble. Gillespie was 6 of 20 from the floor. So, it was
nice to get back at Gillespie because he ate our lunch last year at Maryland. It was nice to finally get one back on him, But Jimmy Dykes compared David Merkovic as a poor man's Cam Boozer. So, hey, it's probably
the broadcast was a little funny. The broadcast had this pro Tennessee jelly roll, which I like jelly roll story. But good Lord,
pro Illinois.
How long does he have to be then? Pro Tennessee, and then the last 10 minutes was all about how great Illinois was. It was a little weird from a broadcasting perspective.
Well, when Illinois was up 13, it's hard to continue to talk about the SEC, right?
Yeah, I like it was clear. It was clear that the ESCCPN network was broadcasting that game.
Wow, this Illinois team, man, you can tell this is a good squad. They definitely are going to be in that Big Four and the Big Ten. I think Illinois, Purdue, Michigan, and Illinois, Michigan, Purdue, and who was the other? Michigan State. There we go. Yeah. He said those are the top 4. He's like, Illinois is going to be competing for that. Jimmy Dykes was talking Illinois up. I like Jimmy. Sometimes
I really like Jimmy when he's not doing my team game against the SEC team, and now he's working. I mean, because there's some SEC bias there.
Yeah,
I think Jimmy Dykes gives me the vibe that he's probably a really good dude.
Yeah. He coached the Arkansas women's team for a few years because he loves ball, and it didn't work out for him. But Jimmy Dykes has been calling games since back when Frank Williams was playing, man.
I used to listen to Jimmy Dykes call Wyoming games at 10 o'clock at night, just because we wanted to watch some basketball,
Yeah, but somebody here brought this up. I think Tomislav just looks healthy now, right? He was a moving.
Yeah, listen, his back to the basket game is better than Merkovic's. Despite Merkovic might have some more moves or whatnot, but Tommy's back to the basket game is much better and much more efficient because of his size. So that adds an element to this offense that can really make things tick and we can move. So I think we started to see listen, Brad said in his press conference last week, we know we're going to have some significant droughts in this game. There are going to be droughts. Everybody has droughts against Tennessee. I don't think we can. And I'm going through my mind. Do you recall any times in the game where we were just like you can go look at the game flow, and I think we had one stretch in the entire game where we went dry for a little bit, and that was in the first half. We had 22 points for about 2 minutes. That's not even a drought.
I think we were up on 69-60 for a little bit, I think, right? Remember it was we were getting the foul, missing free throws. I think that's all it was, though. It was missing free throws. Yeah.
Yeah, we were at 63 for a minute. I mean, we did not have any 3 minute long scoring droughts against a Rick Barnes team, which is saying something, and we certainly forced them into their share of droughts. So that was really, really impressive game. So really impressed with what
Brandon Lampy says 2-ish minutes is the biggest drought.
I don't really call that a drought, man. I mean, when you look at a 30-second shot clock, 2 minutes is You didn't score in possessions. That's maybe three possessions without scoring is not a drought. 5 or 6 is a drought.
And I'll be honest with you, Illinois played very well first possession defense. I think without all those second chance points that Tennessee scored, it was outrageous in the first half. I think it was like 20-6, right?
Yeah,
not
necessarily outscored, but offensive rebounds were out like that. One of the things that was like frustrating is like when you're losing offensive rebounds and it doesn't look like you're fighting, those are the ones that really tick me off. What I saw a lot of the entirety of the game, because I think it shows the toughness of this team and they need the credit for it, is there were so many rebounds where we're in there and we're getting the paw on the ball and it's just bouncing Tennessee's way. And I know coaches and people who play the game and know the game will say the ball doesn't just bounce your way. It's people who want it. And I get that. This is a really big team. We probably won't play a team quite as big as them the rest of the year. But, hey, it's a great coaching point that Brad's got to give these guys. I mean, I know he's not happy about the rebounding effort, if you will, but everything else was really good. So,
yeah, it was. I think just the way that even though they were down at half, I felt like Illinois was the better team in the first half.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And so I was like, we can't lose this game where I feel like we are the better team here. And so Illinois did assert itself in the second half. They finally got a good run going. Tennessee was getting those like lucky, like they had a big man throw one off the glass so hard and it went in. I think we were up 5, right? And you're thinking, okay, let's get the rebound here and push it. No, banked it in, rolled around, went in. And they had like a possession where Tennessee missed the first 2, then got a tap out right to Boswell on their team, and he hit a deep 3. And I'm thinking, oh man, like we're trying to get to double digits here where we can put this away. And finally, after it was 66-60, I think Illinois went on like a 7-0 run to put it up to 73-60 or something like that, and pretty much ice it. So, it was a big win for the guys. I think that's momentum heading into Ohio State. We just saw, pretty much Jake Davis hits his only shot. Big Z.
Yeah, it was a big shot. It was a big shot. It really was. So give him credit where credit's due there. So.
And Big Z was perfect from the field, correct, Kev?
Yeah, 3 of 3, two for 3, and then had that nice little. I like seeing him make that little post move because he's big enough that we can put teams in situations where, that we could cause some problems for them. Like we won't. Tennessee might be the biggest team we've faced all year. I don't see anybody nearly that big. So,
what about Michigan? Pretty similar.
Oh yeah, Michigan's pretty damn big too. But I think it's the style of play. Like I just said, I just talked to like 6 guys who are 6'8" or better. Only one of them is any kind of perimeter threat. Whereas Michigan, you got Mara, Merez.
I don't know. Merez has made his first 3 of the year. I don't know about Laxenberg. He can shoot from 3, but he doesn't really do it a lot.
But he certainly could play from the perimeter. And then obviously Will Shetter can play from the perimeter some. So I just think that's a different style of big. Like, we're going to get a couple of big stuff from Ohio State and Lee and Noel. Royal's only 6'6", but he plays pretty big. They got Amari Bynum who comes off the bench, but
Tilly
we're just not going to see that.
Yeah. Yep. And look, Bruce Thornton obviously for Ohio State's going to be the focal point. They still have their guard who was like the Ohio Player of the Year 2 years ago. He shoots a lot.
Mobley.
Yep. He's kind of had a quiet second season. I think he was dynamic last year. I remember he wasn't missing against Illinois and Champaign when they got up on us, I think by double digits. But yeah, Royal's the one to go along with Bruce Thornton for Illinois to focus on. I think Tilly has been big for them in a few games. I watched the Notre Dame game where they won late at home. But if you think about it too, they struggled and lost on a buzzer beater to a bad Pitt team. And then Northwestern, while Northwestern's going to fight and battle and scratch and claw, I don't think Northwestern's as good as, they were thinking they could be this year. Last year's Northwestern team to me is going to be way better than this year's team. I think.
I agree.
You just have Martinelli. you didn't have. There's no Barnheiser. Yeah, Barnheiser got hurt midway through the Big Ten season, so Illinois.
Barnhiser's a guy who's getting run in the NBA. Like he's playing some every now and then for the Thunder. I mean, he might have played today for the Thunder. So like,
yeah, Barnheiser was tough, man. There is no Barnheiser. It's just Martinelli.
Yeah.
So
and Ohio State, we might be able to torch them. Like Brandon says, they don't play very good defense. So, and there's a question popped up is, about bench scoring. I mean, Tennessee had 24 off the bench. Illinois had 13. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, Illinois our guys like Ben Humrichous played 26 minutes and didn't take a shot. He was doing other things, 5 rebounds, an assist, 2 steals, and 3 blocks.
Russ and Rose, by the way, I think they're from China. They watched the show all the way from China. I'm pretty sure. They've told me that before. Yeah, and if you guys are watching from China, we appreciate it. I have had some people comment to us. But yeah, IU Indy puts up a lot. They just play different. But I've watched a couple.
That's right. That was like the first game of the year. Ohio State won like 127 to 105 or something like that.
It was like 118, 101 or something like that. Yeah. Yeah. So again, that is one thing I think Illinois could score a lot here. I think it just matters on if we're locked in defensively, and I think they will be. I think they're going to be. Yeah. And that leads to a fun one next weekend with Nebraska, who they look good, man. They're 9-0.
9-0. Yeah.
They just beat up on Creighton.
Yeah, and they got Wisconsin on Wednesday, so it'll be interesting. You see a little bit more about them on Wednesday. So,
yeah, so they've got Rink Mass back in the mix, and we forgot how good he was because he didn't play last year. He tore, I think, something, his ACL or hurt his knee, but Rink Mass looks tough, man. He looks like the guy that helped them get to the NCAA tournament 2 years ago when Illinois played them in the semifinals of the Big Ten tournament. They had us down. And Terrence Shannon went all world on them in the second half.
They're an interesting team. This is a big week. ESPN has the game against Ohio State much tougher. They got it at a 50-50. But Nebraska's finding ways to do things and win. Like Sam Hoiberg plays a lot of minutes for them. I don't know how good of a player that guy is. They got Price Sanford to transfer from Iowa. He's their second leading scorer right now.
He's playing well. I will say this. They are not, Kev, they are not super athletic, so they will not.
Right, those are the teams who are going to give us some trouble, right? It's like, because if you're going to try and be physical without a lot of athleticism or skill, Illinois, you're just not going to do it. Like, it's like there's nobody in the country is built the way that we are. And Nebraska, kind of like you said, that they might be built like us, but light. Like, we're going to be more athletic than them. We're going to be bigger than them. We're more physical and more skilled than them. But we're built in a similar manner that they're going to run 5 guys out there that can shoot from the 3 for the most part, right? So it'll be interesting. Like I said, the Ohio State game Illinois is going to have to lock up and play some defense. It'll be interesting to see Boswell on Thornton, because Thornton is probably the one guard in the country, I would say, that is physically strong, maybe if not stronger than Kylin. So,
he makes a good shot. But I would say, man, their bigs too are going to have to come out and guard, Tomislav, and Big Merck's got a chance. That I think Devin Royal was able to do some bullying last year. I don't think Devin Royal is going to bully Merkovic. And so I think it's going to be interesting to see, that dynamic. But also, Devin Royal was out of his mind shooting threes last year against Illinois.
Yeah,
like he hadn't made more than 1 or 2 in a game like his whole life, and then against Illinois hit like 4, right? And so it's like it just depends on how well they are on. But again, they're not going to be a team that Illinois is going to be having to figure out how we're going to score. So I think Brad's going to have them ready. And the Nebraska game, I feel like they're the poor man's version of Illinois, in my opinion. They're good though. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've looked at but if you look at who they played, Kansas State, I thought was good. They're not really. They squeaked one out against them on a neutral site. they just beat up Creighton, who's not as good as, like, you look at their record, they're not really that good this year.
No,
They
lost a lot. They lost a lot.
And they played a 9-point game at home against USC Upstate. But defensively, Nebraska has looked pretty good. They've actually played well, except the Kansas State game where they scored enough. But anyway.
Yeah, they're winning the season win against a pretty decent Oklahoma team.
So net-wise, though, there's a chance for both of these to be quad one games. So that's why it's important before they get 9 days off after Nebraska to play the bragging rights game against Mizzou, who'll probably be 10-2 at that point. Mizzou has lost their last 2 games at Notre Dame in a close one, and then today Kansas beat them, I think, 15, 20 points, something like that.
20. It was 80-20.
Yeah, 80-60. Yeah.
Well, just losing to Notre Dame. Oof.
Yeah, I watched that game. They were winning for a while, but then Notre Dame went on their little run. So, with that said, though, Kev, let's do really quickly. Do you want to do a champagne toast for the Tennessee game? No offense, defense. Just we'll give our players of the game really pretty much you can pick 1 or 2. I don't care.
I'm gonna go with Tommy. He makes such a difference for this team. He's my guy, Tomislav Ivicic. Give my champagne toast. So.
Yeah, Tomislav. You know what? I think this is a guy who is still very undervalued nationally, but I think he's going to be talked about a lot once Big Ten play comes, and that's Keaton Wagler.
Yeah.
How good was he, man? I love Jimmy Dykes was loving him some Keaton Wagler. One of the most probably undervalued guys out of high school, as Brad Underwood told Jimmy Dykes, he stole him out of Kansas. It's crazy. He didn't play AAU ball, and you'd act like college coaches mean that they've never been or seen him play before. So
yeah, and for him to step up in an environment like that, that shows that's awesome. So
yeah,
because Keaton was really, really good all game long, but just amazing in the second half. He's got such a pure stroke. I love it when he shoots. Sometimes I'd like him to shoot more, to be honest with you. I see he passes up some, and I'm like, man, fire away, dude. So
I think Jimmy, please stop talking to Jelly Roll. Exactly, Mike. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Jelly Roll fan too. I think we all know his story, but to hear it, for 15 minutes. All right, Kev. So obviously that wasn't the only thing going on this weekend for Illini sports. Illinois football finally got their bowl destination. We kind of had a feeling it was going to be the Music City Bowl or the ReliaQuest Bowl. And Illinois, it's got locked in. When Brett Bielema was in Nashville yesterday, I kind of had a feeling that there was a reason that he was there. It wasn't just to come support the basketball team. So Illinois is going to be playing Tennessee in Nashville December 30th at 4:30, ESPN primetime, their own slot. The only game going on at that time, I believe. And, Illinois is going to be fired up for it. I don't know how much Tennessee will be. Most of their fan base is not. And I think a lot of it is because they've been to that bowl 2 times in the last 4 years. And they were expecting a CFP berth again this year. And, so, their defense just let them down. So your take or thoughts on Illinois and the Music City Bowl against Tennessee?
Well, first of all, I like the fact we're playing an SEC team. Music City Bowl, it's a good game. It's December 30th. So I had my druthers. I'd rather be in a ReliaQuest, but that would have been our second time in 4 years. It's interesting. Bowl games are so tough to read because if anybody's ever done a bowl pick'em, one of the biggest things, there are a ton of upsets in bowls. Tons of upsets in bowls. Illinois over South Carolina, which I remember sitting on this show before the game predicting a South Carolina win. Illinois just wanted it more. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of who opts out, who stays. I don't know if Gabe or Luke will play. I know that there's been some rumblings that Luke may play. Supposedly we'll hear
mom's comments. Yeah.
Supposedly we'll hear this week. I'm okay with it either way. Love to see him play. If he doesn't play, good for him. You got to take care of yourself. But was a guy who played for Notre Dame years ago. He was a Cowboy. Cowboys ended up drafting him. Jalen, I don't remember, but he was a Notre Dame linebacker and tore his knee up brutally in the 2016 bowl game. And if he had opted out,
Jalen Smith,
yeah. And had Jalen Smith not tore his knee up in that game, he would have been a top 5 pick, and he never recovered. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. So I like I said, I'd love to get one more game with 9 wearing the uniform for Illinois. It's extra practices. We'll see some other guys hop in there. We've got some guys who transferred out already. Jeremiah Warren, Easton the Missile Baker.
I would have loved to see him play for real, though. I would love to see what he had,
Yep. So, but you're going to see some other guys. You're going to see potentially some seniors who are like, man, it's not worth it for me potentially, and that most likely that'd be Gabe and Luke. I don't know about J.C. Davis. I think Melvin Priestley wants to put some stuff on film. Luke Getzky obviously won't want to put something on film. Dylan Rosiak's going to play, right? Like that guy's going to leave it all out there for the Illini won last time. So, and then I would love to see if Luke doesn't play. Sean's a good question. I think Hampton and Boyd will both get some run.
Yeah, I want to see Carson Boyd, right?
They'll both get some run, in my opinion.
So it sounds like for sure Tennessee's going to have at least 2 guys opt out. They have pretty much a first round draft pick at wide receiver.
Yes.
Chris Brazzell. He's really freaking good.
6'4", I think, right? And can fly.
Yeah, he's tough. Yeah. There's no way he's playing. He's already pretty much a lock for a first round draft pick. And they've got some other guys, Caleb Herring and Arian Carter. Sounds like, and then they've had a cornerback, Colton Hood, and an edge rusher, Joshua Josephs. But I would say at least 2 of those guys, one of those guys, along with Chris Brazzell, is not going to play. I'll be honest. I think I don't know is he a guy that they're thinking could be a draft? A guy that's going to be drafted?
He throws for 3,500 yards and 24 touchdowns as a senior in the SEC. He's got all the makeup. He's 6'3", 6'4", 220.
I think he's pretty similar to Altmaier in where they're going to be, in draft wise, like 5th to 7th round, more like probably 6th or 7th. But it wouldn't shock me. I think they're trying to see if they can get him an extra year. To be honest with you, I thought I heard that they're because of the whole JUCO thing and all that stuff. But this is a game too. I think Altmaier's mom said like half of Mississippi's going to be at the game. Right. So I think he may have given away that he's planning to play, and Brett didn't want to ruin anybody's announcement of if they're going to play or not, because he said that they've earned this, and that is a good point. Someone made a good point. This is his last chance really in a live game against an SEC opponent for NFL scouts to kind of see, what Luke can do. And I know this isn't a good Tennessee defense, but I think that's even more reason to come out there and throw up a big number, right? You know, like show off in an NFL stadium too. So
Miles Scott played.
I don't know if Xavier will or not. Yeah, I'm not sure if Xavier will or not. That was one. I don't know if they asked him today in the presser. I didn't hear that. He said he's got to talk to people, and he thinks that a couple of weeks ago he thought that Xavier could be ready to play in the bowl game. Where is he in his recovery? Does he want to risk that, or is he coming back next year too? He'll be able to if he wants to. I think Gabe Akis is the one I'd be shocked if he plays. Personally.
Yeah, I don't think Gabe has any need. He doesn't need to play whatsoever. And it'll be interesting because Tennessee can flat out score, and they could put up some points. Their defense is a little leaky. Sound familiar? So it'll be interesting. So
this would be a high scoring, fun game, possibly. I think that's what this could be. And also, J.C. Davis probably not going to play.
Maybe
that's a possible. Yeah,
you want to put up some tape against SEC linemen, maybe. Who knows? So, Mike Mulberry, anybody who didn't get run during the regular season who might play, I think you'll see some Grant Bierman. I think you'll see a lot of Grant Bierman, to be honest with you.
Braden Trimble,
maybe some more Mac Resetich. Maybe rotating those guys into some different positions. Joe Barna probably gets, Yakis' spot. Maybe probably more reps, more snaps for Daniel Brown. Maybe like Demetrius John on the defensive line. Some guys, some younger guys, they'll try to see what they've got. So,
and Brett also mentioned that there will
Mario Sanders, yeah, maybe, yeah.
No, Akis will not be a first round pick.
Probably day 2.
Yeah, day 2. I would be shocked if.
Listen, his combine will matter.
Yeah,
like if he goes out there and runs like a 4.5 40, like that will, yeah. JoJo Hayden time. His combine will matter. He is a physical freak from all of our standards. Like, does that relate to NFL standards? Does that relate, would that relate to Georgia standards or Bama standards? The combine will show a lot. He's going to get a combine invite. It'd be interesting to see how he runs. So,
yeah, 100%. I think too with, you're seeing the offense, some younger offensive linemen. Maybe if J.C. Davis doesn't play, or push up somebody who didn't get to play as much.
Right.
I think too. So yeah,
it'd be interesting. Could Knapke play?
Yeah, because Knapke, they're going to be part of next year's offensive line rotation.
Right. Yeah.
That's something that we didn't see the Knapke brothers, and I know they were trying to save the older one for next year because.
I'm going to answer one of Sean's older questions on the show. He asked about Nasir Rankin or who will play both ways. Listen, guys, I even talked to Aaron Henry about this. If you want to see a guy play both ways at this level, at D1 level college football and above, their primary position has to be defense. And here's the reason why. When you use guys like Deion Sanders did, or Charles Woodson, or Champ Bailey, think about what I just said, all primary defenders. Hunter, for when he was at Colorado, was 100% both ways. We've never seen anybody like that. But when you run a guy, a guy can come in and just play a snap or two on offense and run a slant, run a go route, run a 9 route, run a reverse, run a sweep with them, whatever. But you can't do that you can't be like, I'm playing offense all the time and then you're going to go in for a series in defense. It doesn't work like that. The continuity, the communication, and the defensive backfield just does not work. So, and I don't know how many draft picks Illinois will have. I mean, I think a lot of it will depend on some things. I think Akis, Davis are probably the 2 highest guys. Luke will get drafted. And then I think you could see some guys. I think Geske is really big and has good tape, had a good year. He could probably get drafted.
What about Beatty?
Well, Priestley will get drafted. Beatty would be an interesting one. I think I don't know that Beatty would run a better 40 time than Isaiah Williams, but speaking of Isaiah Williams, punt return touchdown today, looking like the return of the year, right?
Yeah.
So,
that's another one too. I wonder if the Tennessee thing is a reason why he will definitely play. I really wonder that because they tried poaching him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they tried poaching him, and I think if it would have been anybody else, maybe he wouldn't. And maybe he's like
Tanner Arkin. I think the comparison for him from even from a production standpoint was like Tip Ryman, but Tip went out and ran like a 4.58 40, which blew everybody's minds. Tanner's just I don't know if he's got enough speed. I don't know if he could run well enough to get drafted. Miles Scott, I don't know if he'll run well enough to get drafted. There's a lot of these things like Pat Bryant was shocked. I was shocked when Pat Bryant went in the 3rd round after running a 4.6. Sometimes the coaches just don't. Sean Payton values tape more than he values combine, and that's why Pat Bryant is moving into like their 2nd or 3rd receiver now. He's got 2nd most targets today. He's getting targeted all the time. So,
well, the fact that Steve Smith, NFL legend, said he's Pat Bryant. He's got underrated hands, and he's like he loves his game. Yeah, he's strong with the ball when you throw it to him. And the way he can make those catches in the back of the end zone and get his feet in every time. Those are the catches that you're like, we saw it all the time at Illinois though. So, so I think Illinois gets probably 3 drafted. That's where I'm going to go. So, and then they'll get a bunch of guys that get invites and
Xavier Scott. If Xavier Scott goes,
if Xavier Scott goes, yes, I think he'll get drafted, but that all depends too.
That's day 3 pick, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I think all the reason to let him play against Tennessee, right? Go out there and play.
If he's healthy, for sure,
Yeah. So a lot of fun things going there. And by the way, I didn't mention it, but Illinois National 21 national recruiting class, higher than any of Zook's, by the way.
Right.
So we knew how much talent the Zook's teams had. So that, and Brett Bielema says that there's more talent on this class that he ever had at Wisconsin than any of his classes.
So much depth, so many great. And they just got. I mean, they have something like 13 Power 4 offers per guy that committed in this class. It's just incredible. So,
yeah, for sure. So, things are trending well there too. And then,
I like what Bill Moe said: 5 get drafted, 10 make camps. I think those are probably good numbers there. So,
I'd be interested to see who the other 2 are. If let's say Altmaier goes with Davis and Actus.
I think Geske is certainly Geske and Priestley can certainly be drafted. Priestley,
yeah,
and then Xavier, Miles, 80 are all potential. I wish Kreutz would. Kreutz might make a camp. He's just too small.
So I'll start here today. We're to the final portion of the show. Final thoughts. I'm gonna go. How about this? If you can, come support the Illini women's basketball team because, man, they just kicked the crap out of Indiana yesterday. As Bill Moe, our guy here, says, he follows it more than anybody I know besides Kedrick Prince. But I try to watch as much of their games as I can. I definitely keep up with every game score and look at the stats and all that. But I watch every game that I can. Man, it wasn't even a game. Like, they were up 30 at one point, Kevin, in the third quarter over Indiana, who Indiana's not a slouch this year. They're not. They lost some really key pieces. But still, they're not a bad team, and Illinois was beating them by 30.
Illinois lost the fourth quarter against them 25-10 and won the game by 19. They were up by 34 going into the fourth quarter. They just beat the brakes off of them.
Barry Wallace has turned into she's going to be scary, man. She's already scary. But Gretchen Dolan's really tough. And then, Destiny Jackson, and they've got a big Parchment who's making a difference. Yep. And then, of course, Guyton's getting healthier and getting more time. But they are going to be scary good here in the next couple years. Like, I think this year is going to be they're going to really put everybody on the map of, like, this is a young squad, but they're still going to be good. They're still going to be ranked at some point this year. They're going to fight, I think, to be a top 16 seed this year. I don't think they're going to be elite, but they're going to be really good. They're going to – and next year I think that was where they put a staple on, like, we ain't going nowhere because their classes, Kevin, are top 10 nationally.
Yeah.
And she can coach her head off. Hello. The star of the show. But yes, Shauna Green can coach her tail off. Ken Prince has told me, like, he goes over X's and O's. He thinks she's the best X's and O's coach at Illinois. Like, you get the talent in here with what she can do coaching and, scheming, and that's scary. So continue to support the Illinois women's basketball team. They're fun to watch, and the crowd attendance keeps getting higher and higher.
And my understanding is that is probably the biggest thing to keep her here and keep her happy is we got to start not filling the arena, but filling it better than we do currently. So,
you think so? Is that where you're going to go play? You're going to play for Shauna Green?
She doesn't play basketball. She's a volleyball player. She's a volleyball player.
Right. Well, she ain't playing for Chris Tomas. We know that.
So hopefully he won't be around. Yeah, and they got some winnable games in the near future. Missouri, North Texas, Jackson State, Purdue before they play Maryland. So it'll be interesting. So, and yes, Sean, Luke will get drafted. Luke will shine. He'll shine in interviews. He will run extremely well. He's got a stronger arm than we probably give him credit for. His accuracy, his moxie, he'll get drafted. My final thought is this: is we as fans do silly things. We blame coaches for losses, but we never give them credits for wins. We did this consistently with the defense this year. When the defense played bad, we bagged on Aaron Henry. When they shut down Rutgers, who's a good offense, we said they weren't a good offense. Or when they shut down Maryland, we said they weren't a good offense. Or when they shut down Northwestern in the second half, they're like, well, it's the weather. Or when we beat Tennessee after losing to UConn, it's because Brad Underwood can't adjust. And I'm like, guys, do you not see the massive adjustments that were made? And Jimmy Dykes even called it out. And listen, I know it's not all Brad Underwood. I know Orlando Antigua, Jeff Alexander, Cameron Crockett all have a hand in it, Tyler Underwood, whatever. But if you're going to praise a coach, if you're going to crap on a coach when things don't go right, you got to praise him when it goes well. And far more often than not for Brad Underwood in his tenure, things have gone well. So that's my 2 cents. So
that's a good 2 cents. Yeah. I made sure I posted that on X yesterday for people to see. So yeah, I think we've always known he's adjusted. I think it's a lot of the end game adjustments that weren't good enough for people, but
right.
Even though he always did, I remember against Penn State, remember how they tried to guard, what's his name? He would booty ball us to death, right?
Oh, Jalen Pickett.
Yeah, and we tried to adjust every freaking time to do something different. It just didn't work. It's like, this guy, Brad needs to adjust. Come on, Marsha. It's like, we are adjusting. It just didn't work. Sometimes you adjust and it doesn't work, man. Like, you can't make miracles happen. So, but yeah, so I'm in total agreement with you there. But anyway.
One last thing. If you're a college football team and you go 10-2 and you happen to not make the playoff, you don't opt out of a bowl game. That's Bush League. You
don't take your lunch pail and go home, Kev?
No, that's chicken shit. That's Bush League. I think they deserve to be in. This system with JMU and Tulane getting in is dumb. It's dumb. One of them getting in, I'm fine with, but it's dumb. Virginia lost a game against NC State this year. That was a non-conference ACC game. It was a non-conference. What? Like, can the ACC just get their shit together? Because they just ruin all this, dude. Could we please have Notre Dame and possibly Vanderbilt or Texas in this thing? Or like whatever, like just JMU is going to get beat by 1 million against Oregon, and Tulane already got the doors blown off against Ole Miss. This is just.
It is. This system is flawed, bad. I think the outrage of this is going to fix it.
To 16.
It's going to go to 16 because of this, which is good for Illinois and Brett Bielema.
Yeah, I had no problem with Boise being in last year. What were they, 11-1? Like, and they played Oregon, they played other teams. JMU played one Power 4 school.
They lost
by 14 to a decent Louisville team. Like, they're okay. Like, at least Tulane beat 2-7.
Louisville was 8-4. Like Illinois, like the thing is like if Illinois would have beat a group of 5 team by 14, and that was their only loss, there's no way you'd be like, yeah, they deserve to be in. No.
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, at least at Tulane, I honestly would not have that much of a problem with it. Tulane beat 2 bowl-bound Power 4 teams. The ACC champion Duke. By the way, how does Duke at 7-5 make the ACC championship? They won a 5-team tiebreaker where you have a 5-team tiebreaker and it doesn't go to best overall record. They lost to Georgia Tech, who they were in a 5-team tie with it, and still got to the ACC title game.
Yeah, it's wild. But you know what though? I think the best team in the ACC made the college football playoff. So
I agree. I think, and the second best didn't, and neither one of them played in the title game.
Hey, but you know what? Manny Diaz is an ACC champ, and you know what? And that means Illinois beat 2 conference championships and they're non-conference.
Yeah, because Western Michigan handled business. And kudos to that guy. That guy's doing something. Right
that coach there. By the way, I loved the toughness of the team when they came to Illinois.
I heard him talk on Illini guys. Cagley had him on the show during the week, and he was like, "We lost everybody. This team's a little bit of a mess, but the coach will figure out a way to get them together. It's a good football team." So,
yep. Totally agree. Other than that, if you haven't subscribed to us on YouTube, please do. Tell a friend. Any of your Illini friends, give us a subscribe. They're on YouTube. We're growing. We're getting closer to 1,000. Much appreciated, you guys. I don't know if we're doing any more Fade the Deuce. We haven't for 3 weeks.
Well, it would have wrapped up with this one anyway, but it's such a time commitment. I love doing it. Well, we might see. I'll talk to Matt. We need to get Matt on to talk basketball anyway.
Maybe for a CFP special, right?
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool.
All right.
Maybe put out maybe we'll do like a friendly, free CFP bracket for our listeners. So
hey, Stu, I always appreciate Stu. Mark Smith's neighbor down in Edwardsville, right there, Stu Cyclops.
As in Mark Smith, the former Illini.
Yes, former Illini.
The next Jason Kidd.
Yeah, the next
AJ Espinesa's high school teammate. Epinesa's high school teammate.
Yeah, all that. We appreciate all our lifers, man. We keep growing. We appreciate you. With that said, Kev's golfing, 18 birdies. Swami out.
ILL.